Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. In the beginning of January, 6 girls in a Udupi college in Karnataka were barred entry into their classroom for wearing a hijab. The direction was clear: remove your hijab as it is not part of the prescribed school uniform, and then you can attend classes. But since then, we've seen protests break out not just in different parts of Karnataka but across the country. Metro cities across witnessed large number of students and activists hitting the streets, outraging over the denial of a fundamental right to these girls for choosing their own dress. Protesters who completely missed the point that this was about rules and uniform in a school and college and not about choice or denying anyone their right to practice their own religion. But as the days have passed, there seems to be a pattern emerging to all of this. Back in 2020, we saw protests break out in Shaheen Bagh in the national capital over the Citizenship Amendment Act. The so-called leaders of that protest are now leading this revolt too. Coincidence or something else? Chief of PFI's women wing, Lubra Siraj, is one such common thread. Student Islamic organizations Muhammad Salman vowed to force center to revoke the CAA law back then. Now he's fighting for the hijab to be allowed in the classroom. Asif Iqbal Tanha was active in Shaheen Bagh and an accused in the Delhi riots case. This year, he's making appeals that are going completely viral, including some audio clips which we are not running because we've not verified them. And the Aligarh Muslim University Student Wing's former president, who led protests in support of revocation of the CAA, also leading the hijab protests in Prayagraj. Let me put this in context for you, ladies and gentlemen. Times Now is tracking the trajectory of these protests from 2020 to now. At least 7 locations across the country are following the same blueprint. Students, activists, and especially women from the minority community being propped up to lead the protests. Even actors chimed in both times. Celebrities came to their rescue. Sonam Kapoor and Swara Bhaskar took to Twitter to express their views, putting their weight behind the protesters who were at the forefront. And let me make it clear, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not taking objection to anyone lending their support to any side. It's their choice. India is a free country and they're free to voice their opinion. But are they becoming a pawn in a larger plot? Well, it's for them to figure that out. But as this controversy over hijab escalates, more and more facts are tumbling out that point towards the so-called rebellion following a certain template. Some would call it a toolkit of carefully crafted stir. So that brings me to the legitimate question on the Newshour tonight. Is the hijab rebellion manufactured or is it absolutely spontaneous? That's the question and the debate. Hijab ambush plot. That's the debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
And joining me tonight, Smita Prakash, editor of ANI, Ifra Jan, spokesperson of the National Conference, Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst, Saida Falak, member of the AIMIM, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, member of Parliament and national spokesperson of the BJP, will join us in a bit. But my first question goes to Saida Falak of the AIMIM. Saida Falak ji, I want to just ask you, this is not about the right of a woman to choose her dress. This is only about a school uniform and a campus uniform at that. In a school where probably equality is more important than the fundamental right of choice. Equality because nobody should look different, feel different, so that the same treatment is given to everybody. And, you know, it is the call it a masjid of education, and all concentration should be on education rather than on issues that are related to religion. So there should be absolutely no religious symbol which should be allowed, in a school or a college campus, exactly what the courts have said in this matter. But why do you think, despite the court looking into the matter, there is this pattern of protest that's spreading across the country, just like it started in Shaheen Bagh and spread to various parts in 2020? Too much coincidence?
See, first of all, we are not telling that we want to violate the school code, school uniform, the uniformity. We are telling that we will maintain uniformity, we will follow the dress code, school code. We just want to add a headscarf. Who wants to wear, they want to wear it. You cannot force them to stop, because it is just not a religious symbol. It is an essential and integral part of a religion, and that will be proved in court. We have enough evidence that hijab is an essential part. So we are not going to compromise on that. And the second question you asked me, sorry, I'm unable to hear you.
You won't compromise on that? Even if the court says so? Even if the court says so, what do you mean by saying that you won't compromise on it?
No. We will respect the court's decision. Let the court take a decision, then we will talk about it. The second question you asked me, and you even showed the number of people and the faces who were also protesting during CAA, and they're also protesting now. See, it is as simple as that. They know that minorities are being targeted again and again. The government is working against the constitution. So why will they not protest?
Against the constitution. Smita Prakash, the government is working against the constitution.
Exactly. They are attacking the constitution.
Ma'am, can I ask the other lady on the panel? May I? Even she has a voice, if she could express it. Thank you so much. Smita Prakash, government is discriminating against minorities.
Yeah.
In all schemes, don't minorities also get their share? Where is the discrimination? Why is it being made as a discrimination issue? Because nobody's talking about the school and the uniform. They're making it an all women issue कि भाई हमारा तो हक छीन लिया. Is this, that's why I'm asking you, is this really deliberate that they are sidetracking the issue from a uniform issue to a choice issue, which seems to be the case in many people who've stepped into this debate?
Yeah, so whether it is a women's issue or whether it is a question of minorities, so there are many big colors being given to this whole thing, and especially when the lady says that it is essential to Islam. I mean, that is again something which is very debatable, and I think it will go to court. Of course, it is in court already, so they have to prove it in court that it is essential under Islam. I mean, there are enough Islamic scholars who have been going on for years and years fighting it and saying that it is a regressive piece of government which pushes back women. Afghanistan women have been fighting against the hijab, niqab and burqa. But anyway, let's not go into that. I'm neither a scholar of Islamic studies and nor am I a women's rights activist. I am a woman, however, and I'm a woman who has her roots in Udupi district, where this entire controversy has begun. So with humility, I wish to say that Udupi, which I grew up in, was this sleepy town where nothing much happened. In fact, all of coastal Karnataka is very steeped in Hinduism, very steeped in social conventions and traditions which are adhered to by people of all faiths, whether they are Christians or Jains. And mind you, there are a significant number of Jains also, and Christians and Muslims, and they all are woven into this social fabric. However, about 20 years ago, Navika, it was here that, Hindu protectionist group, they rose because they felt that the Hindu way of life, or the traditional way of life that was being practiced out there, was under threat. And this was felt by many, not just Hindus, but it was felt by Jains also, by Christians also. And why was that? Because suddenly you saw Muslim women bringing in this radical Islam, which was not part of of the Islam of coastal Karnataka. So hijab was one of these traditions. Now it's a region where there is no ghungat, no covering of the head at all in South Karnataka. Even people who have gone from the north to South Karnataka, Navika, don't wear dupatta on their head, don't wear hijab, don't wear ghungat at all. Unless they're going into a gurdwara in a place, then they cover their head and they come out because the gurdwara has this tradition. So it's a religious tradition practiced inside a place of worship. But as far as going into a temple is concerned, nobody tells you that cover your head. Nobody tells women to do that. In fact, men are told to take off their shirts and stuff like that in some temples. Women have no code like that to wear anything particular. Just a social tradition, don't wear mini skirts when you're going inside a temple or a church. That's about it. So as far as this thing is concerned, and also now you have these Bollywood celebrities who are turning in and saying that Sikh turban is allowed, so why not hijab? The point is that the turban is mandatory in a Sikh faith. It's not mandatory so far in Islam. It has to be first brought that about. Once you bring that a hijab is mandatory, I'd like to know how many of the women panelists who are going about shouting today in all TV channels and debates. In fact, in one of the TV debates, a lady said that ab to fashion ho gaya tika lagane ka. I don't understand when she started thinking that tika is a fashionable thing.
Absolutely. And Ifra Jan, I want to ask you, yes. You know, why do all women stand up and talk about hijab, in the question where education is at stake? I want to ask you, when it is about education, isn't it about equality? Wouldn't you want that women are not singled out because they are wearing something different or looking something different? Rather, among students, everybody is equal. And equality is the principle why these uniforms are prescribed. For example, in the army, now a fighter pilot wearing a hijab, does it make sense to you?
You see, Ms. Kumar, equality and uniformity are not always the exact same things, and you can look different and still be treated equal, and that's exactly what the Constitution of India says. Now, coming to my experience, I have gone to college, I have gone to schools, and a certain degree of religiosity was always allowed in the schools. For example, in the Karnataka schools itself, not one school in Karnataka serves garlic and onion in its midday meals because it hurts the sentiments of a certain community. Okay, so a certain degree of religiosity has already been brought in. You know, if you actually look at in my schools or at least in my colleges, I've always seen many Hindu students wear a tika after they've after they're done with their puja. I've seen some married girls, who actually were in college and were married early. They wore their Mangal Sutra and they wore a red mark on their forehead. It was never a problem, including Sikh students who wore turbans and including one or two Muslim girls who wore a set scarf. Never did our college administration or I as an Indian citizen discriminate with any of them because they felt different. I thought that was the beauty of it. Please do not allow a woman's attire to come in the way of her education. What we actually doing here, there are two actually serious things going on. One, you do not want the entire religion out of schools and colleges. You just want one symbol, which is the headscarf, out of schools. And that's been the BJP's track record so far, constantly harping on Muslims, whether triple talaq, whether anti-CAA, whether
so you think triple talaq is a good thing and it should have continued?
Absolutely. No. I am
what is your point on triple talaq?
Okay.
What is your point on triple talaq?
Okay, I absolutely agree with the court on triple talaq. But I am trying to tell you, I absolutely agree with the court on triple talaq, but the court said that it's un-Islamic and should have never been there.
So
I am saying that the BJP...
So the court has also said the same about hijab, but wo aapko nahi karna hai because Bifra Jan, there is a predetermined move, and I'm again and again saying this because many people refuse to believe that all this is a coincidence. That the same people come up, the same protests happen. It is a small little place in Udupi where this whole thing started. Where is the necessity of these protests happening in Malegaon? Wahan to koi order change nahi hua. So Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, he's joining the debate now. Good evening. Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, also condolences for the bereavement that you've gone through. Welcome back to the show. But Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, I want to ask you, is this a convenient formula once again to try and corner the government and to paint an international picture that, well, India is an intolerant country, we have a government, we have a prime minister who is not tolerant, and that's been the attempt right from the beginning, and Awasthi, church attack, anti-CAA protests, and now these hijab protests. Do you believe this is a coincidence or this is a toolkit now?
Navika ji, those who are raising this issue, first on the specific issue, those students who are saying that they want hijab, how many of them can show their previous pictures with hijab when they are coming to school? So that's creating first problem. Secondly, these are the people who have problem with everything which brings uniform. Vande Mataram, nahi bolenge. When you say that you have to stand up when the national anthem is sung, कहाँ लिखा है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में हम क्यों खड़े हो जाएं? तिरंगा क्यों हम करें? हम तो साहब अपने मजहब के अलावा किसी के आगे सर नहीं झुकाएंगे, भारत माता की जय नहीं बोलेंगे. बताइए प्रॉब्लम इनको कहाँ नहीं थी? Everywhere there is a problem. And one more thing, Navika ji, the problem is not since last few years. It's a mindset. In 1920, Muhammad Ali Jinnah said कि वंदे मातरम नहीं बोलूंगा. Not only this, he said Mahatma Gandhi को महात्मा नहीं बोलूंगा because this is the Hindu Upadi. That's why in every movie we have seen he always called Mr. Gandhi, which is the mindset when the RSS BJP कुछ पैदा ही नहीं हुआ था भाई. इसलिए मैं कह रहा हूँ this is a typical characteristic mindset, and with due humility I would like to ask, जो लोग ये कहते हैं कि ये शरिया का हिस्सा है, अगर आप उस रूल को मानेंगे तो उस रूल के हिसाब से तो जो औरत बुर्के के बाहर आएगी उसको कोड़े मारने का भी प्रावधान मानेंगे. वो नियम है अफगानिस्तान में, ईरान में, उसमें लिखा कलाई से नीचे कि अगर कुछ भी दिख जाए औरत का तो फिर कोड़े पड़ने चाहिए. वुड यू एक्सेप्ट इट और नॉट? बी वेरी क्लियर एंड कैटेगोरिकल. And when it comes to uniform, uniform means uniform. But you have to follow the code of conduct in any place. Like Smita ji has said, गुरुद्वारे में जाएंगे तो किसकी हिम्मत है जो बगैर सर के ऊपर कुछ रखे चला जाए? ये नहीं कहेगा मेरी तो फ्रीडम है, मैं तो ऐसे ही जाऊंगा. बताइए ऐसा कभी होता है? इसलिए हम कह रहे हैं आपके ऊपर कोई रोक नहीं है, जैसे मन हो वैसे रहिए. फिर दो बातों का जवाब दे दीजिए कि भाई क्या जिस रूल के तहत आप कहते हैं कि बुर्का और ये पहनना जरूरी है, उसमें बुर्के से बाहर आने पे कोड़े लगना भी जरूरी है, आप उसको एक्सेप्ट करेंगे कि नहीं?
Ifra Jan, respond to that question.
Thank you. Number one, religion and how much of religion you imbibe into your life is and always should be a choice. Just like what you want to wear should be the choice of a woman, what she wants to wear and what she does not want to wear. For example, it happens to be the BJP minister in Karnataka who said कि चूंकि लड़कियां स्कर्ट पहनती हैं इसीलिए उन लड़कियों के बलात्कार होते हैं. We do not believe in the mentality like that. A woman should be allowed to follow.
आप divert क्यों कर रही हैं? Why are you diverting the debate? The debate is about hijab. I condemn anybody who makes a statement about why women are raped. So, but this is not about women's rape. This is about hijab.
This is about choice. So this is about choice.
Why don't you ask? Why don't you answer the question? Why don't you answer the question raised by Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi? कोड़े मारने का भी option है religion में described. Will you opt for that?
Absolutely not, because I believe a woman should have a choice to wear whatever she wants to. A woman should have a choice over her own body.
Can I please get an admission in a madarsa, and can I please wear a skirt when I go to the madarsa?
Absolutely. We need to start opening up all these places so that slowly,
Saida Falak ji, can Ifra ji or myself go to your madarsa and wear a skirt?
See, if you come wearing a skirt in madrasa, we will not push you and say just get out. We will welcome you. See.
Oh yes.
First of all, you are not a Muslim. I guess. I think we teach.
You will discriminate against me.
No,
you will discriminate against me.
Navika ji,
my choice. What about my choice? I choose the madrasa. My choice.
Let me complete, Navika ji, please. If you are not a Muslim, if you want to come sit in madrasa and learn about Islam, we will welcome you. And Ifra Jan is a Muslim, right? So if she comes wearing a skirt in madrasa, we will welcome her, we'll make her sit, and we will make her understand that hijab is compulsory. You should wear that. Then it is up to her that if she wants to wear or not.
So we'll invite her. Smita Prakash, tell me in which madrasa they allow girls with skirts. Please tell me. यहाँ argument के लिए TV पे मुझे बताइए.
And make them understand that it is compulsory.
No, in which madrasa have they allowed a woman in skirt to come in? Ifra Jan, आप ही बता दीजिए. आप ही बता दीजिए.
अगर उनको नहीं समझ में आता तो चले जाएंगे, ठीक है?
अच्छा.
अच्छा.
आपने Smita, which madrasa allows women in skirts? Please tell me one.
No, this is.
Can I please come in on this? Can I please?
No. This is the is Irfa in any way a lesser being than Navika, that you will impose a certain law, or you will convince her that she needs to cover her head because she's born into a particular religion, but you won't impose that on Navika. Navika, this is exactly what used to happen when beauty parlors, salons were shut down in Srinagar. They were run by Muslims only. So so long as a non-Muslim came to do it, it's fine. But when a Muslim girl would come and try to get her eyebrows plucked or her hair cut, acid was thrown on her face. The same thing happens. So this is really wrong that apne logon ke upar discrimination kar rahe ho aap. Do you realize the hypocrisy of it? That you are trying to say that Navika is allowed to wear a skirt and come anywhere, but Ifra is not allowed to wear a skirt because she is born into an Islamic faith, so she should adhere to those laws.
No.
Saida ji, I don't know if this is true, but a viewer has sent me a shot of yours from your social media, which says Saida Falak. I don't know if it's yours, but it shows a picture from last month where you have clicked yourself and put this on social media last month without a hijab. तो
See, Navika ji,
हिजाब तो जरूरी नहीं है. अगर ये तस्वीर आपकी है तो हिजाब तो जरूरी पिछले महीने नहीं था, इस महीने बड़ा जरूरी है. इस बार के राशन लिस्ट में हिजाब भी लिखा था, ऑर्डर किया था.
बोलू नविका जी, बोलू
जी,
मैं आपको एक बात बता दूं.
नहीं पहले तो ये बता दीजिए ये तस्वीर आपकी है या नहीं.
अरे मेरी तस्वीर होगी, मुझे दिख नहीं रहा, मेरी होगी. सुनिए आप, पहले बात सुन लीजिए. मैं आपको बता दूं, बहुत सारे व्यूअर्स को, पैनलिस्ट को कंफ्यूजन है. मैं आपको बता दूं कि मैं 2-2.5 साल से सर पे दुपट्टा पहनती हूँ. आई कवर माई हेड विद अ दुपट्टा, एंड आई थिंक 1.5 year back I joined AIMIM. That time also I was covering my head with a dupatta, but recently, yes, I've started wearing hijab because Allah has given me hidayah. And I want to do that. And what we are discussing here is that if a girl wants to wear, she should wear. Nobody should force her. And if she doesn't want to wear, nobody will force her. Why I am wearing hijab now, it is my choice. Because Allah has given me hidayah. So now I have started wearing hijab. So it's my choice. If a girl doesn't want to wear it, it's her choice. Exactly. What's the point here? Yes, earlier I was never a hijabi, but now I have become a hijabi because Allah has given me hidayah.
Okay. Earlier I was not a hijabi. तब मेरे धर्म में जरूरी नहीं था, अब जरूरी हो गया है. सुधांशु त्रिवेदी जी, तहसीन पूनावाला आ रही हूँ आपके पास, माफी चाहती हूँ. I'm coming to you, but one quick comment from सुधांशु त्रिवेदी जी and I'm coming to you. सुधांशु त्रिवेदी जी, 2 साल पहले तक अल्लाह का करम नहीं था, अब है. आप पहले अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह
अब हो गया है.
और एक बात बता दूं नविका जी,
अब आप जवाब सुन लीजिए.
Two things which have categorically come with the discussion. Number one, they have accepted, categorically said that parda is a part of Islamic tradition, and from now onwards, Navika ji, ये तमाम left liberal women activists जो कहते हैं कि पर्दा हिंदू सभ्यता का पार्ट था, उन सबको आईना दिख गया है. Second thing, the activists like Sura Bhaskar and others and women activists, left, liberal, communist, जो ये कहते थे कि मिनी स्कर्ट और जीन्स के ऊपर तो बहुत aggressively shouting, how it can, now they are in favor of burqa and hijab. That shows the sheer hypocrisy in the character. They have nothing to do with the women freedom or even any, you can say, devotion towards any religion. It's the sheer politics. मैं तो कहना चाहूंगा हिंदू लड़कियों से भी देख लो भाई, ये सिर्फ तुमको ज्ञान देते हैं और वहां पर जाकर इसके पक्ष में खड़े होते हैं. फाइनली वन मोर थिंग, अगर साइदा फलक ने कहा कि उनके विचार बदले, कोई बात नहीं, कोई भी कर सकता है. इन दोनों ने ही, तीनों जो हमारे लोग हैं, कोड़ा लगने पर तो जवाब नहीं दिया। एक बात और बता दी, 4 बीवी इस्लामिक ट्रेडिशन का हिस्सा है। डू यू एक्सेप्ट द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ 4 wives और नॉट? से यस और नो। इफ नो, देन वुड यू प्रोटेस्ट अगेंस्ट इट और नॉट?
रिस्पॉन्स सईदा जी।
Pardon? What he asked?
उन्होंने कहा एक शोहर की 4 बीवियां अलाउड होनी चाहिए या नहीं? ये भी तो इस्लाम में है।
Yeah, it is allowed in Islam. Then yes, we will support that.
You will support that. Ifra Jan, you will support that?
You know, if there are certain rules regarding that, including the fact that if
Then
a
ask the
wife
women
is okay
activists.
with it, please ask if a wife is okay with her, she gives her permission
Exactly.
in letter, and she gives her permission, only then will a husband be allowed. If I am the wife, I will not give the permission to my husband to do it, and that's perfectly reasonable in the Islamic faith. Now let me.
No. If the husband forces you, if the husband forces you and brings another wife and forces you to agree, that's also
Navika
okay.
ji,
Well, आज the entire debate of women's
Navika
liberation
ji,
has turned on
Navika
its
ji,
head. Has turned on its head. अब सईदा जी इत्मीनान से तहसीन पूनावाला भी हैं, ये भी मुस्लिम महिलाओं के हक के लिए लड़ने वाले हैं। ये बात और है कि 1980 में आज कपिल सिब्बल जी और इनके कांग्रेस के लोग पेटिशन कर रहे हैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट में दैट हिजाब शुड बी अलाउड, बट व्हेन अ मुस्लिम वुमन लाइक शाह बानो was getting maintenance from her husband, they brought a new law. तो शाह बानो और शायरा बानो छोड़कर ये सबकी सपोर्ट करते हैं कि इनको हिजाब में रहना चाहिए। हिपोक्रेसी, मिस्टर तहसीन पूनावाला, you heard about that word called hypocrisy ever?
I live that word every day. Narendra Modi ji's government is a living example of incompetence and hypocrisy.
Sometimes you should introspect also, look within.
I just want to make one religious point. I absolutely look within, which is why I am saying with absolute confidence that the Narendra Modi government is an example of incompetence and hypocrisy. Now, if I can just make 2 points, one a religious point, one a constitutional point. But at the onset, my condolences to Sudhanshu ji on his mother passing away, and my congratulations to Smita ji. That was an excellent interview with the Honorable Prime Minister. Now, 2 quick points that I want to make. One on religion. Time and again on this channel and other channels, the question is being raised, as the Sudhanshu ji raised, is hijab fundamental to Islam? The answer to that is in 2431, where hijab is defined as your idea of modesty. So my mother, a practicing Muslim while I am an atheist, went to her mosque wearing sindoor, wearing Mangal Sutra, wearing saris, wearing Western clothes. That was her idea of modesty, and nobody could take that away. In fact, when recently I was in Kashmir, I in fact bunked into Ifra at one of the places, and I went to the Hazrat Bal Mosque. My wife, a practicing Hindu, went to the mosque wearing Western clothes and had not covered her head. So again, modesty in Islam is interpreted as an idea of fate. So the fate of a couple of girls is to cover their hair, not wear a burqa, not wear a niqab and cover their face, cover their hair with a dupatta while maintaining the uniform. That is the constitutional question before the court. Second point on matters of constitution. I completely agree with Sudhanshu ji that matters of fate must not be got into public domain. Therefore, today, as member of parliament of BJP, I want him to promise that since matter of faith must not be brought into public domain and should be left in the house, what a person wants to eat in the house, who a person wants to love, is their problem. Why does the government then ban beef? Why does it come up with stupid rules on interreligious marriages? Why is this government interfering people's personal life?
So then pork also should be allowed? Should pork also be allowed in that sense?
Why is beef ban gotten on religious grounds?
No, what about pork? Should we serve it in various madrasas?
Absolutely. Please understand this.
Pork serve hona chahiye.
Who wants to eat pork? Please understand this. Who wants to eat pork? Please understand, my mom's a practicing Muslim. In her house, they very often, when my wife and I go, there is pork. My mom doesn't eat it. Who wants to eat pork will eat. Who wants to eat beef will eat. Who wants to be vegan will be vegan. Who wants to be vegetarian will be vegetarian.
Sudhanshu ji, respond to Tehseen Poonawala.
Why does the BJP not understand choice?
Sudhanshu ji, respond.
देखिए, मैं थोड़ा हिंदी में कहना चाहूंगा। बहुत साफ साफ दिख रहा है कि अब कोई अकीदत का नहीं, सहूलियत का मामला है, और ये अब सहूलियत भी नहीं, सियासत का मामला है। और जिस ढंग के जवाब हमारी दोनों महिला प्रतिभागियों ने दिए, चाहे 4 वाइफ के ऊपर और उन सारी चीजों के ऊपर, तो मुझे तो भाई ये लगने लगा जो वुमेन एक्टिविस्ट थी, वुमेन लिबरेशन की, वो इस बात के लिए भी खड़ी हो जाएंगी कि 4 वाइफ्स होनी चाहिए। तो मुझे नाविका जी ध्यान आता कैसे कैसे ये जलवे दिखाए राम जी, आंखें तकती हैं जलती है तक तक के हाय राम जी, ये क्या दिखाया जा रहा है। चलिए कोई बात नहीं। तहसीन ने बड़ी अच्छी बात कही। तहसीन जी, आपके यहाँ क्या खाएंगे इसके ऊपर रिस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं है, कैसे खाएंगे इस पे भी रिस्ट्रिक्शन, झटके का खाएंगे क्या, तीनों में से कोई बोलिए। नहीं नहीं नहीं, हलाल का खाएंगे। तो फॉरगेट अबाउट व्हाट इज टू बी,
मैं जवाब देता हूं,
नॉट टू बी ईटन,
उत्तर देता हूं।
इवन द प्रोसीजर इज हैविंग अ स्ट्रिक्ट एडहेरेंस। तो दैट्स व्हाई आई एम सेइंग, आप कितने भी रूप बदलने की कोशिश करें, द क्लैरिटी इज वेरी गुड। एंड वन मोर थिंग आई वुड लाइक, ये हिजाब जो है, इट इज बेसिकली एन अरेबिक अटायर, इट हैज नथिंग टू डू विद इंडिया और इंडियन सबकॉन्टिनेंट। फॉरगेट अबाउट इंडिया। बताइए, भारत में जितनी बड़ी मुस्लिम नेताएं हुई, मोहसिना किदवई जी से नजमा हेपतुल्लाह तक, किसको देखा हिजाब में? ये बताइए, शेख हसीना और बेगम खालिदा जिया बांग्लादेश में दिखाया, देखा हिजाब में? बेनजीर भुट्टो को सर पे पल्ला रख के देखा। यहाँ पे सर पे पल्ला रखा जाता है, हिंदू और सिख औरतें भी रखती थी। हिजाब कहां पहना? हम लोगों ने बचपन में शटल कॉक बुर्का देखा था, ये हिजाब तो अभी आया पिछले 25-30 सालों में। अदरवाइज बताइए कितनी आपने महिला जो वुमेन थी इंडिया की, उनको हिजाब में देखी है? चलिए पाकिस्तान बांग्लादेश की बताइए। इसलिए मैं कहना चाहता हूं, ये सहूलियत का मामला नहीं, अब
It's their choice.
Can I reply?
और झटके और हलाल पर भी जवाब
Can I reply?
आपने प्रतिभा पाटिल को देखा
Can I
है जो
reply?
सर उड़ती थी हमारे देश की?
वो तो उन्होंने कहा,
सुधांशु
वो
जी।
तो उन्होंने कहा घूंघट भी एक प्रथा है, लेकिन स्कूल में कौन घूंघट पहन के जाता है? स्मिता प्रकाश, who wears घूंघट in a school?
No.
You know, if they want hijab permission, now we should, in schools in Haryana or some of the northern states, should we allow घूंघट also in schools?
It's going to spread. Yeah, so it is going to spread, Navika. This is not going to go easily. This is not going to go away easily. And I'm like extremely shocked when somebody says that 4 wives should be allowed. Somebody emancipated as being a spokesperson for a political party turns around and says that 4 wives should be allowed. Similarly, should 4 husbands be allowed for a wife? No, that doesn't work, right? 4 wives should be allowed so long as you ask permission. And excuse me, but asking permission, do you know how many women have property rights? What happens? If a woman is told you will be thrown out if you don't agree to your husband getting another wife, she has to agree. वो जाएगी कहाँ? उसके parents के पास, उसके भाई के पास, किसके पास जाएगी? So she has to agree with the second wife.
Well, they haven't thought this through. They haven't thought this through. अभी इनको जो अच्छा लग रहा है कि एक हस्बैंड की 4 बीवियां हो सकती हैं, कल जब ये होने लगेगा तो इन्हें समझ आएगा. When the husbands, which they say under the Quran, should seek permission from the wives, when they and their kids are held to ransom by the husband, that if you don't agree, we will throw you out. We'll see what happens to these women then. The question is, of course, it's their choice, but not in a school. You're wearing a hijab to a studio debate. You want to go and visit somebody. You want to go to the market. Please wear what you want to. But in a school and a uniform, in a place like the Indian Army, in the place like an Indian Air Force, would you say my choice of dress is my fundamental right? It is here that people seem to be making a mistake. The question is, uniform is a uniform, and in some places the uniform is the law, and that's the way this should be seen. Thank you very much to my panel for joining me on debate number 1 tonight. On the other side, debate number 2, alleged journalist Rana Ayub is under the scanner of the Enforcement Directorate, which has attached assets worth over 1.77 crore rupees.